So today we'll be talking about Stieg Larsson. Stieg Larsson is a Swedish author. He is like also a journalist and an activist, along with being an author and a novelist. So Stieg Larsson was born in Skellefteå in Sweden in 1954. He spent much of his time in Stockholm, and he was deeply engaged in politics from a very young age, particularly talking against racism and right-wing extremism. So Larsson's professional career was largely dedicated to journalism and writing about these extremist activities and also tackling racism overall. So he was an expert and worked with various news agencies and the magazine Expo, which he co-founded in 1995. So Expo, which is the magazine, it aimed to counteract the growth of extreme right and the racist tendencies that were picking up in the society, and reflecting sort of Larsson's lifelong commitment that he had to the social justice and the activist. So he's well known as a journalist and an activist. And then later on came the novels, of course, so which are equally famous. So he's globally now recognized for his fiction, although Larsson did not live to see the worldwide success of his novels, and he wrote the first three novels which we'll be covering today, and he died of a heart attack on November 9, 2004 at the young age, I would call, at 50, and it was good that he delivered the manuscripts for the Millennium Trilogy to his publisher before he died. So that kind of kicked off this whole series, and he's an acclaimed writer. It kind of shows in these three Millennium Trilogy novels. The series, they kind of blend the murder mystery. There is a family saga that is involved. There is a love story, financial intrigue, and overall, it's the complexity of everything that makes it a very entertaining narrative. And his novels have sold tens of millions of copies worldwide, and they have been translated into multiple languages. And it's also like his works have been adapted into movies and TV series in both Sweden and in Hollywood, so which are equally famous. So he's globally now recognized for his fiction, although Larsson did not live to see the worldwide success of his novels, and he wrote the first three novels which we'll be covering today, and he died of a heart attack on November 9, 2004 at the young age, I would call, at 50, and it was good that he delivered the manuscripts for the Millennium Trilogy to his publisher before he died. So that kind of kicked off this whole series, and he's an acclaimed writer. It kind of shows a very well-known personality. So the Millennium series is Lisbeth Salander. She's brilliant but a troubled hacker. And there is Mikhail Blomquist. He's an investigative journalist, and kind of this journalist picks up from what Stieg Larsson was also doing, right? So it's an iconic character, both of them working together, and a very nice fit to the modern crime fiction. The books actually explore various themes of violence, and especially sexual violence, and the power dynamics, the societal corruptions that exist, which resonated with the readers. And it was these gripping narratives and complex characters which don't seem like what they are until you keep going deeper and deeper and deeper. So that's makes his novels worth reading. So Larsson never witnessed the global phenomena of his work, right, which later on got released after his death. The continuation of the series is being done by another author, David Lagerkrantz. He's been commissioned by the trust to continue the work, and there are actually more novels like around this theme. And although Larsson did the first three, which we'll be reviewing today, and we'll also review David Lagerkrantz's work in one of the future videos. But today it's dedication to Stieg Larsson and his the Millennium Trilogy series. So a lot of his novels are dealing. Still, David's novels are also dealing with the same kind of equality that is present in the society, and he's trying to fight from his standpoint as well. So we'll certainly go and review his novels in the future. The first one is The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. And a lot of people may recognize this title because the movie was made with the same title. Usually the movies have like a slight change in the name, but this one was named The Girl with the Dragon Tattoo. And if you have seen the movie, probably you will recall that in the beginning, which is the first of the Millennium series, this gripping thriller introduces you to the complex characters of Mikhail Blomkvist, who is kind of, at the time he is introduced, he is a disgraced journalist, and Lisbeth Salander, brilliant but sort of a socially awkward. She's a hacker and with a mysterious past. And the setup is all the backdrop of Sweden. The novel weaves together the themes of murder, family secrets, and corporate corruption. And it always, all of his novels, they try to go deeper into this dense mystery. So that's what you get with Stieg Larsson. The story begins actually with Mikhail Blomkvist facing professional disgrace. He's being convicted of committing a libel against a very powerful financier. So the court has announced that he's dealing with that libel kind of scenario, which he kind of exposed this very powerful financier. So he's in a bit of trouble. So shortly after his conviction, he's approached by Henrik Wanger. Henrik Wanger is the elderly patriarch of the wealthy family. They live on an isolated in northern Sweden. So Wanger, at this moment, he hires Blomkvist to investigate the disappearance of his niece, Harriet, who vanished without a trace. This was about 40 years ago during a family gathering on the island, and Wanger believes Harriet was murdered by one of the family members, and he wants closure ultimately. And he's really old. Henrik Wanger is really old, and before he goes off in this world, he really wants to put a closure. So that's why he hires Blomkvist. Blomkvist sort of reluctantly accepts the job. He also sees it as an opportunity to escape his current troubles, and maybe he can rehabilitate to a newer career, right, as an investigative journalist, and doing something else for a family which want to investigate the death of Harriet. He's in a bit of trouble. So shortly after his conviction, he's approached by as the novel progresses, it delves into the Wanger family's history. They uncover a dark and complicated web of secrets. The crimes that are stretching across generations, multiple generations, in fact. And the investigation comes to a dead halt or a dead end, and Blomkvist decides to enlist the help of Lisbeth Salander at that point. And Salander, meanwhile, has been conducting some background check on Blomkvist for a separate assignment, and she's highly skilled investigator in her own right, and she's using all these unconventional hacker methods to get inside deeply into some other people's activities and so on. So despite her traumatic past, which she has a very traumatic past, she has this unique ability to stay balanced and also to see patterns and details that others usually miss, and that's a strong point. And together, Blomquist and so their investigation reveals there have been brutal murders linked to Harriet's disappearance. And so it draws them into more and more danger, and it's a confrontation with powerful enemies. And the relationship between Blomquist and Salander at this time, they start relying on each other to survive the threats that are happening against them from powerful enemies. The novel, even though it can be classified as a murder mystery, but it's not. It's also a critique of the Swedish society, highlighting issues of violence against women and the moral failures of the rich, and the struggles of somebody who cannot afford to stand up against some of the powerful people. And that's overall Larsson's narrative. It's very compelling, very detailed, and he also starts off the novel by saying 18% of the women in Sweden have been threatened by a man. Right, so that's the beginning of this novel. So he goes through the characters, and it's very deep when he gets into each one of the characters. So a very intricate plot, complex characters, and dealing with social issues. It makes it a standout contemporary. The next one, the second in this Millennium series or trilogy, is The Girl Who Played with Fire. So The Girl Who Played with Fire, it kicks off with Lisbeth Salander returning to Sweden after a year-long absence, and she's returning and trying to keep a low profile. But Michael Blomquist is now produced and he's rehabilitated after the events from the first book. He's working on a major story for the Millennium magazine, and this report, which was prepared, and he is working on the story, and the report that was prepared by a young journalist named Dag Svensson and his girlfriend Mia Johansson, both of whom they are soon found murdered, and it sort of is now you get behind that story of what they were trying to expose. So they were trying to expose an extensive sex trafficking operation that involves prominent figures, very high in the Swedish society, renowned personalities there. And when the police find Lisbeth's fingerprints on this murder weapon, she becomes the prime suspect, and this sets off a massive manhunt. And unbeknownst to the authorities and the public, the murders and the sex trafficking investigation are deeply sort of intertwined with Salander's dark past. She has a very dark past which will be uncovered in this particular novel. And so Blomquist dives deeper into the case. He uncovers shocking details about Salander's childhood and the abuses she endured, and including some connection to a mysterious figure by the name. So this tries to now get in deeper. The narrative reveals like sort of a web of corruption, and there is violence and systemic failure for kind of that has failed. The society has failed Salander since her youth. So it drives deeper into Salander's background and the traumatic experiences that she had. And those experiences have shaped her. So it explores the themes of justice, the revenge, and the struggle of individuals when you are fighting against powerful and oppressive systems, which are very highly profiled in the society as well. So it's not just a crime thriller, I would say. It's a commentary on societal issues. The novel brings out Salander face to face with her past and pushing her to her limits in both physically and emotionally. Emotionally, she can handle a lot of things. She's a hacker. She is able to get behind a lot of things. But this is an experience that is going to take her through some physical and emotional limits that will be exceeded. So it leaves the readers with a cliffhanger, though, and that sets the stage for the third book in this trilogy. And the novel sort of now it kind of cements or puts Elizabeth Salander's status as one of the most interesting and enigmatic figures in modern fiction, along with Stieg Larsson's leaving a huge legacy behind, even after his death. Glad that these novels came out and got published. They are amazing, and he's a master storyteller. At least till you get to these two, you will be blown out by Stieg Larsson. And I got introduced actually to Stieg Larsson because I saw a comment. I'm a huge fan of Kigo Higashino, the Japanese novelist, right? And one of the comment, when they do this sort of comments in the earlier part of the novel, it said Stieg Larsson, Kigo Higashino is actually Stieg Larsson of Japan. And although I see some connections there, not a whole lot of connections. They are both unique in their own right. And Stieg Larsson stands out for me as the master storyteller. And so does Kigo Higashino. And the third one in this Millennium series is The Girl Who Hid the Hornet's Nest. So the final installment, it starts off where Elizabeth Salander is fighting for her life in the hospital, and she's critically wounded from what happened at the end of the previous book. That was a cliffhanger. And she's facing like an attempted murder charge, and there is strict surveillance with authorities waiting for her to recover. So she can stand trial. And meanwhile, Mikhail Blomkvist, who is now the publisher of the Millennium magazine, is determined to prove Salander's innocence. And he is trying to dig deeper and deeper until he finds all the details which can help out Elizabeth Salander in the trials. So he delves into this complex investigation, which uncovers like sort of a secret section within the Swedish society and the Swedish security service, the SEPO, and they have been illegally protecting a terrible secret which has been tied to Salander's past. And of course, that's the reason they want to keep it as a secret itself. As part of the SEPO, and this kind of rogue section within the SEPO is responsible for a series of injustices that have happened against Salander and a lot of other women as well. But this is a focus on Salander, and it includes the wrongful commitment to her to a psychiatric clinic as a child, and the framing of her for multiple murders. So all these are kind of being orchestrated by the Swedish security service. And Blomkvist exposes a deep-seated conspiracy within the high-ranking officials, and it goes up all the way to the government and the intelligence services. So these revelations kind of threaten to shake the very foundation of Swedish society, and this leaves Salander, Blomkvist, and their allies in grave danger. Meanwhile, Salander, despite her injuries, she is helping them from the hospital with her hacking skills and is contributing to uncovering this conspiracy as well. The novel is exploring the traumatic childhood that Salander faced and providing a deep understanding of her character and the resilience with which she has confronted everything. All of these were very systemic abuses, but she has stood strong in kind of handling these, and that shows the complexity of her character. And there is a tense courtroom drama where Salander faces her abusers and the corrupt system that has tormented all along since her youth. And through this continued efforts, the truth about the secret network and Salander's past is laid out, offering a chance for justice and redemption.